If getting your kids to do their chores is a struggle for you and you feel like you have to yell and scream and cajole and remind, and it creates conflicts and power struggles, then you're going to want to listen in on this parent coaching session. I think a lot of times people think that because we're parenting peacefully, that we're just letting our kids run amok and have their rooms be messy and not follow through on their commitments and just coddle them so that they never have a negative emotion or don't have to do anything that they don't want to do. But that is not preparing them for life. Building healthy habits, creating good muscles of accountability and discipline and following through on commitments is still a big part of the work that we get to do, even though we're being peaceful in the way that we do it. In this episode, you're going to get some great ideas to turn things around when it comes to getting your kids involved in being helpful around the house. But I think more importantly than that, you're going to hear some different perspectives and hopefully get some mindset shifts about how you're coming to the conversation so that you can experience more cooperation, more fun, and let's face it, what parent among us doesn't need more help folding some laundry and unloading the dishwasher? Listen in.
I have a 6-year-old and almost 4-year-old, and I'm just trying to figure out chores, like how to navigate this. Growing up, I worked a lot. I was raised on the farm. I don't remember when we ever did like, this is what your chore list is. Like it was just you were expected to do it. Um, and I just want to, I don't know how to navigate this because when I grew up, it was just like you did it because you were told to do it and you just do it. I Stuff needs to get done. And I don't know how to to do this and get it started with them without making it like some sort of dictatorship, like you must do this. And I don't know. I'm just, and I know they're little. Like my 6-year-old is getting into habits though. So like I want to make sure that we get it started early. I know I don't expect them to do all the laundry right now, obviously, but how do I get this going without making it so, I don't know, like controlling, I guess?
Yes, I love this question. And by the way, if either of your children does get totally into laundry, they are welcome to come to my house. But reality is at this age, and I love that you acknowledged their ages. They are 6 and 4. They are little. I also love that you acknowledged you don't want it to be dictatorship parenting. This does not land well with children with whom you want to create emotional safety. So let me ask you this, knowing what you do about your kids, what do they love most in the world? What absolutely lights them up and brings them joy?
Well, they're totally different children, obviously different people. But my oldest loves Legos. He's obsessed with his chickens, like we have chickens, and just like all things building. And then my almost 4-year-old, she just loves chatting and talking, socializing, doing all the like dolls and she loves roughhousing, playing with dad, and so does my oldest. So nothing to do with cleaning.
Yes, welcome to human parenting. Things are often messy literally around us and also inside us. So, to the extent that you want to feel more order in your life and less chaos, what you already described are some ways to play to your children's strengths. Because the goal here is emotional safety. The goal is not making them do stuff because the more emotionally safe they feel around the stuff that does, by adult standards, have to get done, the less it will feel like a have to, and the more it will feel like a want to or an I get to do this thing. So, playing to those specific strengths, let's talk about your builder, your Lego child who wants to accomplish things. What sorts of chores might involve seeing the fruits of his labor, seeing something get accomplished, and really celebrating that part of his brain that already loves doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I have already started. He likes to organize his silverware, so I do that a lot with him while I'm unloading the rest of the dishwasher. But even that's like pulling teeth, like, come on, come help me organize the, like, do this, or you can stack the plates. And um, so that's, I've gone with that on him. But like, I guess laundry, learning how to fold, that might be helpful. Or putting it away. I don't know, putting it away. That's not really building, but like stacking stuff, I guess.
Maybe, yeah, I can see the stacking, and I'm going to offer you a playful parenting tool that you can use with exactly those two examples. First of all, the silverware and the plates are no longer silverware and plates. They are the silver Legos and the what color are your plates?
White.
They're white plates. It's all right. If
They're
they were,
boring.
they're good for me. White plates it is. So let's stack the white Lego plates. You can still call them what they are, but you create an association with something he already loves. And he will sense. I also noticed your vibe about, will you please come and help me with this? I am sensing anxiety in your body. And nobody wants to sign up for that. Oh, mama looks tense. Give me some of that tension. Let's share that in the kitchen. So,
Yeah.
your opportunity is to say, how can I actually make this playful for both of us? And that means perhaps temporarily a bit more engagement, where maybe, by the way, children love correcting us. They love being the smarter, wiser person in the room. So maybe you say, child, I'm having trouble stacking these fork Legos. These fork Legos aren't working. And you try to stick a spoon in with a fork and a knife, whatever. And he's going to look at that and say, Mama, you're doing it all wrong. Let me show you how to do it. So that way you're giving him a playful, emotionally accessible, tension free invitation while also getting the stuff done. So I'm going to check in with you and say, how does that land before we move on to your daughter?
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense to, and I totally get it that kids love correcting you. So I like that idea. He will like being right. So that's a good idea. And the making it playful. That's a great idea. I like it.
Excellent. Now let's move to your social child who loves chatting and connecting and all things feeling like she's in community with you. So I'm going to ask you a very pointed question. Is this a child who will feel emotionally safe going in the other room to do that responsible thing?
No. She wants me to be with her. Yeah.
So what are some things you can do to play to her strengths while still getting the stuff done?
Mm, I think she does really like doing adult things, right? So putting the soap in this like in the or detergent in the laundry, like the washer or whatever. So those types of things. And she's doing it with me and she's talking to me. Like we just went to the grocery store and she wanted to do all the groceries putting in. And so she likes to be like a big girl. So I think playing to that will be helpful basically in anything, as long as I'm doing it with her and kind of guiding her and she feels like she's taking over the job. If that makes sense. She likes being in control.
Yeah, for sure. Because once again, she's human. We all like being right. We all like being in control. So, good news, she's right on track for growing into an adult human. So, this is wonderful. And I love that you are acknowledging the importance of doing these things with her and alongside her, knowing that that is one of her love languages. Because, again, emotional safety being the key, we want her to say, I feel loved when we do this together. I feel seen when we do this together. And if you go back to the 4 S's of secure attachment, seen, soothed, and secured, you're checking several of those off the list simply by virtue of doing these things with her. And for the parent out there who might be saying, I don't have time to do that, they just need to go and do their stuff, my guide to that parent is the more you create emotional safety now, the more the child is going to want to continue to do the thing. If it is a battle now, guess what? They don't want to sign up for next time you ask them to do it. So this is an investment in the relationship. It's also an investment into your child's future relationship with the task that you are asking them to start owning more and more as they get older. And final comment I'll make about this, particularly for young kids like yours are, we want to avoid making things mandatory whenever possible. Because the minute somebody of virtually any age feels like they have to do this thing that somebody else is pressuring them to do, that zaps the fun right out of it. So
Yeah.
my invitation to you is to check in. Remember, they're little. They're going to thrive most when you take a playful, lighthearted approach that feels like an invitation to connect in whatever their play language is. And from that connection, you will start to see some beautifully healthy habits that you can enjoy alongside them because you're also spending time with your kids in the process. This is also the teenager who's going to keep opening up to you because you hung out with them when they were little.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to remind myself that because we all know, I mean, as parents, that it just gets done faster. It just gets done when we do it. And then, like, yeah, I totally agree. I need to start making it more playful because I'm sure I've been making it like, well, we need to do this. And then we can go do the fun thing instead of making it a fun thing, not making it like doom and gloom like I've been doing.
Yes, Teresa, you just nailed it. Make it the fun thing. Even though we might not love it, we can create a healthier relationship for our kids around it. And by the way, side benefit, we get to have more fun with the thing in the process. What a great question. Thank you so much for being here and for asking this question today.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Sarah, I just love the way that you coach because you have a way of keeping things so positive and playful and really giving parents the opportunity to like shift the narrative from this has to be hard. I have to be in control. They have to do the chores. How do I make them? And I'm just curious, as a parenting coach, why is that effective? Why is it important?
Couple of things. One is we as parents, when we are in the thick of it, our nervous system is going to perceive virtually everything as being an emergency. So part of my job is to help ground all of us in the fact that very few things are actually emergencies. And the more we can create emotional safety for ourselves, the more emotional safety we have to project onto and share with our children. And when it comes to chores and things like that specifically, there could be a lot of angst around those things. And if we come at our child from an angsty position, of course they're going to sense that and say, whatever it is, I don't want any part of it. So the more we can help parents lean into trusting that not everything is an emergency, the more they are going to pay forward that belief with their children. Secondly, when it comes to play, we know a couple of things. We have to be in a place of emotional safety to be able to access play. It comes from the ventral vagal nervous system. And lest I get into a whole diatribe about nervous system wellness,
We'll
we
talk
know
about
that
that next time.
exactly. Yeah. The 10-minute session, right? So when we are in this empowered state of, I can play with you, it lands in a much safer way emotionally, where our kids can say, I do want to be a part of that. And especially because so much of childhood is absolutely centered around play, it's how children learn best. Our best bet is not to try to bring children into our adult line of thinking,
Mm.
but instead meet them where they are developmentally. Because when we can do that, kids will feel like they get me, we're on the same team. And this feels like a point of connection rather than a point of conflict.
In the coaching session, you shared that, establishing this connection and this playful relationship that really honors the need of each child as an individual will lead to more trust as children get older. As I was watching, I got curious about people listening who have older children. Is there an age range where play no longer works? I'm asking this as the mom of two teenagers who was dancing in the kitchen with them last night. So I think I might have just answered my own question, but I'm curious to hear your perspective.
Yeah, well, I'm 49 years old and I'm not tired of playing yet. So I would say I don't have personal experience above 49, but odds are good that if you're raising a child who is younger than 49 years old, according to the research, not just Sarah speak, absolutely. Play is accessible for everybody. We all have versions of play, even though for some of us, it might not look like stacking blocks anymore or playing with Legos or whatever. If I get outside in nature, that's my version of play. So for the parent or caregiver of teens, figure out what is it that they love doing. My personal definition of play is anything that brings you joy. So if you can connect with your child's joy language, if you will, that's going to be the key to creating that emotional safety and making play so much more accessible than if we come at them again with that adult perspective.
Oh, it's so interesting because it just really feeds into the narrative that life is hard and we need to prepare children for the hard reality of the future that they're going to be responsible for as adults. And I think that's why people think mistakenly that, in a more peaceful approach, conscious approach, gentle, whatever we want to call it, that we're not creating healthy habits, that we're not teaching responsibility, that we're not giving children space to do chores, make their bed, fold their own laundry. I was reading a book recently. It was Atomic Habits. I was like, what book was it? And it talked about this study. I think it was called Primax Principle, where if you intentionally have a cue to do something that you don't want to do, like every day you brush your teeth, and then after that, you go make your bed. And then after that, you get to do something fun, that we start to create those neural pathways where the thing we didn't want to do becomes habituated. And I heard you kind of lay that out for this mom. I'm curious how you see that this kind of early entry into having micro responsibilities around the house creates those healthy habits. Like, does that stick through life?
Absolutely. We all have very strong associations with things that we create in childhood. And the first invitation that I would offer to parents is to be curious about the labels that we have around chores. For example, if I decide I hate making beds is a horrible thing to do, it's no fun whatsoever. If I quote unquote sell it to my child as, oh, we have to make our beds, but then we get to do something fun, my child,
Mm.
from me, oh, I guess I'm not supposed to like making my bed. But we have an opportunity as parents to say, let's make the whole thing fun. Where maybe, and this is something we do in my house, and I wasn't even thinking about this a second ago, but when we make beds, we play what we call the river game, where I will make the sheets fly in the air. And my daughter, ever since she was little, would dive onto it. And it's so much fun. Granted, it takes 5 more minutes to make the bed, but she has a completely positive association with it's time to make the bed. So a lot of it really comes back to our narrative. And that being said, of course, there are going to be things that we are never going to get excited about. I don't know a great way to make cleaning the toilets a really good time. There aren't that many games I want to play with that.
So I figured that out. It's called hire someone else to clean the toilets.
There's an option. Yeah, absolutely. So there are certain things that are never going to be that much fun. But you're absolutely right. We compare things together, not in the sense of you get a reward, you get a sticker, you get a candy, whatever, but just in, hey, when we're done doing this thing, we get to do something else. And we do sell it, if you will, as part of the package so that it's a positive association. And by the way, I love Atomic Habits. Great recommendation.
One of the things that I hear from parents all the time is, I don't have time. I don't have time to play, like 5 more minutes to make the bed. And, this is where mindset is such a powerful tool and one that we work with our clients on. And if you have that story in your head, like, I'm already overwhelmed, it's useful to take an honest look at how you're spending your time. One of my first mentors said, show me your calendar. I'll tell you your priorities. And the truth, like that vulnerable place where we get to accept responsibility of that, is like, how much of the time do we have in the day that we're mindlessly scrolling social media, that we're giving our energy to other people's priorities and agendas versus our own. And the fact that you're listening to this podcast tells me that parenting is a pretty high value for you, a role that you take really seriously. And so sometimes this requires editing, editing out uh, doom scrolling, editing out, spending time with people who don't light you up, giving of yourself in ways that drain you so that other people outside of your priorities are getting your need met, because play takes having a full cup. And as adults, we have a lot more control, I think, than we're willing to admit over what we're giving our precious, daily energy to. Do you ever catch
Yeah.
yourself in that, Sarah?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I am human too. Thank you for naming a part of the human parenting existence right now. Funny you mention that, because I have a practice that I try really hard to adhere to, and I call it screen-free Sundays. It is just my designated day where I power down my phone. I don't put it down, I power it down, where even if there's an emergency, tough luck, I will learn about it later. But when I do this, there's a magical thing that happens. My 24-hour day turns into a 30-hour day. Where did I get all this time back? How is it that I'm actually checking things off my to-do list? How is it that I have time to sit and play a full game from start to finish with my child, make a decent meal, all of the things that the rest of the week tend to stress me out because I feel like I don't have enough time for them. Now, some people might say, well, Sunday's your day off. You don't have to work too. Well, as a business owner, guess what? We work pretty much all the time. So I can say I also have experimented with this during the week. Same result. It's a matter of where our priorities are. And to that parent who's saying, I don't have time to be playful, first of all, huge compassion to you, because I realize what anxiety feels like. I have felt it too. I have lived that. And I promise you, one of the quickest ways to reduce that anxiety for yourself and your child, whether they have it now or might someday in the future, is to say, where can we intentionally create more joy in our life? Whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And presence of joy does not mean absence of conflict. It just means I'm going to spend more time investing in learning how to play well now, so that 5, 10 years from now, I'm not arguing with my teenager about needing to put away their stuff, or me deciding I'm just going to have to go and clean it myself or whatever. Think of all of the years that would add up of doing unpleasant things myself that become less pleasant because I didn't invest the time today. This is a short-term investment. This does not take years to master. This is something you can learn relatively easy with a few consistent, reliable practice sessions for yourself.
Mm. If a parent is listening to this and they've been in power struggle around, a room that's not clean, chores not getting done, commitments not being met, maybe this is a little bit of an older child, 8, 9, 12, 16. How can they reorient back to connection and cooperation?
Brilliant question, and it's a big one. First of all, most important place to start is probably with repair. And it might be repair with ourselves. I'm willing to take ownership that I have created more conflict than I want in my life. Yes, my child might own some of it too, but I'm not focusing on that part of it. I'm focusing on the battles I chose to pick when I either didn't know better or couldn't do better. And this is a no shame, no blame situation where you simply say, things were hard for me. I couldn't do it then. And I set us up for a tricky long term dynamic. So I'm going to be gentle with myself and forgive myself for not having done some of the work that I couldn't do then. Second step is probably repairing with the child and acknowledging the proverbial elephant in the room and saying, I have noticed that this thing has been a consistent battle for us. I am sorry for my part in the battle. You're my child, not my enemy. I don't want to fight you about this. I want to come up, and here we set an intention. I want to come up with a win-win solution so that the stuff that needs to get done can get done, but in a way that actually feels completely, capital C, completely peaceful to both of us. And at that point, if our child is receptive to it in the moment, although they may not be, depending how hard this has been over time, but whenever that day comes where they say, yeah, I'm ready to brainstorm with you, then you brainstorm without blaming, without saying, well, you never do what you said you were going to do. You simply come up with what are some things we can try. No matter how ridiculous some of the ideas might be that come up, you simply say, let's try it. You do without expectation, but with a whole lot of compassion for yourself, for your child, and for the process that you are leaning into trusting to see if you can come up with something that's going to feel more peaceful to you both long term.
I love it. I love it. I want to just share, Sarah, maybe let's like ping pong some of our favorite play to get things done to wrap up this episode. So one of our favorites in our family that we've been doing for like 10 years is called 6-minute cleanup. We put a 6-minute timer, we blast music, and we see how fast we can clean the kitchen while dancing and try to get it done under the minute. And my kids are 17 to 18. We like Thanksgiving, we do this, we never get the 6 minutes, but it keeps it fun, it keeps it light, and I think creates a ritual, which is something I know kids love. Okay, Tia.
All right, to me, I love painting. I love playing the parental incompetence game. This is especially fun for younger kids, but I'm going to say 12 and younger. Sometimes it can be, oh my goodness, I can't possibly carry this bag of groceries. I'm going to fall down. It's going to knock me over. Children love coming to our rescue and just being silly and asking for help in that way. They know we can carry the bag of groceries. But coming to our rescue gives children this huge endorphin rush. We both get a laugh and we get help along the way. Back to you, Kiva.
I've loved anchoring how my children feel when they have done something positive, right? So, when my daughter cleans her room, like, how does your body feel in your room? What do you like about it? What are you appreciating about your room? And then when it gets messy, we have that anchor, right? So I can say, like, how's your nervous system going, sweetness? And she'd be like, oh, mom, you are right. I need to tidy up because this is stressing me out. And that really what we're looking to develop here is inner authority, right? That the kids learn to do the right thing even when no one's watching. And so if we can help show them what following through on those commitments feels like, that's a reward for them that they can internally resource for themselves. One more from you, Sarah.
One more from me. Also surprisingly effective, even for older kids, is find a different way to move our bodies. Oftentimes we get really stuck in the mundane, the rigidity of life. But if I say, for example, let's ice skate our coats back to the closet. Let's walk on our hands with our shoes on our hands to get them back to the shoe rack. Some ridiculously goofy way of moving our bodies can be a whole lot of fun because you create laughter and levity over things that nobody wants to do.
Let's talk about pattern interrupts. The next time that we have a call together, Sarah, you're wonderful. Sarah has a book, everyone, that you can find on Amazon and all over the internet, I'm sure, called Peaceful Discipline if you're curious and going deeper in this conversation. And Sarah, can't wait to have you back again soon.
You are so much fun. Thank you, Kiva.